Assalamu alaikum. Good evening all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good afternoon all. Today we will have inshallah our third meeting. We already finished 2 meetings and we are in the mid of our module now. So we will finish inshallah the third meeting today. Last meeting, just a quick recover. We talk about the technology and the information competency, and we focused on how we can communicate in everyday life using, especially we focused on how we can use technology in education. We have seen how our education have changed by using the online platform, and also we have discussed some strategies regard how we make effective distance learning. And we said we discussed the different methodologies of communicating online, like email. This is the different parts of the email address, which is the username, and also the top-level domain, which consists of the organization type and the provider of the email service. This is, if you remember, the body of message. So we have header, message, and the signature. Header itself consists of different parts like the to CC and the subject of the email and any attachment with the email. So header itself consists of 4 different parts, and this is the message that you want to deliver, and this is signature, including your name, your address, your contact information, and your title. Then we have discussed how we could control spam, and we said spam is the email you received from unknown people that annoying you and may contain some advertisement or some fake information. We said if we want to use the communication online, there is some net etiquette, which how we should write our email online to the others. Then we talked about the distance learning, which is learning from distance, not in regular classes. And we compared the disadvantage and challenge, focused the students or faced the students in distance learning. Then we discussed the power plan for better distance learning. So this was actually regard chapter 3. Then we discussed in chapter 4 the communicating in everyday life. We focused on the different communication types online, like the social communities, like the difference between the oral and written and nonverbal communications, and how we could deliver the message and make sure the send and received messages are the same. So this was the brief of the last class outcome. Any question regarding last class meeting? All right. So I want to inform you that today class is recorded, and I already sent you the link of meeting 2 in your email, and now we will start meeting 3. All right. So in meeting 3, it's very nice chapter 5 and 6. Useful not only for the learning, but also for our own life. So in chapter 5, we will learn how to become critical thinker and to become creative in solving our problems. In chapter 6, we will talk about excel at taking tests. So the outcome will be identifying the essential of critical thinking and explain the process of problem solving and identifying critical thinking and the problem solving strategies. We will describe some common falses and errors in judgment, and we will explain the importance of creativity in problem solving. Then we will identify problem solving strategies for mathematics and science. Then we will identify ways to enable creativities, how we could improve creativities. As a beginning, we need to define what is a critical thinking. It's actually a process in mind contain logic, rational, and systematic thoughts process. So more than one side are contributed in critical thinking. Just give me 1 second. I need to send the link of the class to some of the students who don't have the link. Give me just a few seconds. Welcome back. I would just like to recommend that you have the link of the class. It will be the same every time. We will never change it. So it's better to have it in your diary or save it somewhere. Save it in your email, some place that you always know where to find it. Asking for the link at the time of the class is just distracting. So try to ask some of the students if I didn't reply you. That's it.
Teacher,
Yes.
tomorrow we have a quiz, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
It's going to be in this meeting?
Actually, the time of the quiz and all the information, it's on the LMS. I'm not sure about exact date, but I think this week you have a quiz. I'm not sure about the date. So if you want me to check, just bear with me. I will check your website, but already the information there. So quiz 2 will be in week 6, Tuesday 23, yes, tomorrow. Your session will be from 12:30 till 1 p.m. So the structure of the quiz will be the same as the previous one, including true or false multiple choice. You have 8 minutes to solve it, I think, and you can do it within 30 minutes. So the exam will be open for 30 minutes. If you have a problem, regard the time you have another class or for any other reason, I think they extended last time. So it was More than half an hour.
Teacher,
All right. Yes.
how many questions?
So the exam will be available from 12 p.m. until 9 p.m. You have 8 minutes allowed to do the exam. How many questions? I think it will be 4, like the last quiz.
Is it going
It's
to be
not
in this
mentioned
meeting?
here, but I think this will be the structured. Any more question? All right. All right, so study hard for your next quiz, and it will cover meeting 3 and it will cover meeting 2. Sorry, it will cover only meeting 2. All right. So let's come back to our class. We say the critical thinking is a process containing logical, rational, and systematic thought process. Why we need it? Because it can help us to understand, analyze, and evaluate information that can help us to solve our problems. Problem solving is actually creating a solution or identifying a solution to a question we faced or a problem we have. And usually we always have a situation where we have to make a decision. So decision making is determining or selecting the best or most effective answers or solution. So basically we need to do a critical thinking when we have a problem to solve to enable us to make the best decision for this situation or for this problem. This is the essential critical thinking skills based on Bloom's taxonomy. So we have first to create, then we have to evaluate, then we have to analyze. It's like pyramids. Then we have applying, then we have to understand, then we have to remember. This is the critical thinking skills. In creating, which is on the top of the pyramids, we should think about what can I create with this information or connect with other information. In evaluating level, you should think about, can I make judgment about this information and rate accuracy, quality, and credibility? So you will evaluate the different options you have. In the analyze phase, you need to think about, can I see the whole and then analyze part of this information? An applying part, you could think about the practical application of this information. An understanding phase, you should think about if you can understand the importance of this information and explain it in your own word, why it's important to you. And remembering level, you should recall this information, including the most important point, facts, name, dates, definitions, or events. So this is basically the skills of critical thinking. Skills. Now we will talk about the steps of how we could solve a problem. It's basically divided to 4 basic steps. The first steps, you need to understand what is your problem. You need to be able to define clearly your problem. For example, you missed 3 classes. What can you do to make up these 3 classes? Second things, you need to gather and interpret information regarding this problem. You should gather all the information you need to solve the problem. For example, is there any makeup classes I can attend, or why do I miss these classes, and what will be the result of missing these classes. And the third step, you need to develop and implement a plan. You need to set the different options available for you to solve the problem. You need to find some strategy. For example, you could ask your advisor, you could get involved in a group study to find and implement a solution. In the last step, you should evaluate your plan. Did it well work? Or you should think about why this plan is the best plan available for you. Is it the best option or not? You should ask yourself about the best solution. Will you meet your goals if you follow this solution and apply this plan or not? So this is basically the steps of problem solving. And critical thinking and the problem solving strategies, there are a lot of strategies regarding how to become a critical thinking and you're solving a problem. First things, you have to be positive regard your problem. You should check the figures. You should always be positive and think that there is some solution. You just need to look for it. You should ask questions. Is it difficult to solve this problem without knowing all the facts and opinion? You should persistence pay off. Sometimes you will need a second or third try, so it's not necessarily to pass from the first time, and you could not succeed to solve the problem from the first try. You should keep going. Be creative, think in a new and fresh way, try to think out of the box. You need to pay attention to all details, try to find and cover the whole problem sides. See all sides of the issue, listen to all opinions, different opinions regarding your problems. Use reasoning, do not jump to conclusion, explore all options. Two types of reasoning, inductive and deductive, you could think of it. Be rested and healthy. Try to take some rest to make and to take the best decisions and to think about the all available options. So characteristics of a critical thinking. What can you do? You could examine beliefs, assumptions, and opinion against facts. So try not only to be limited to your opinion. Clearly define the criteria for analyzing ideas. Is cautious and interested in seeking new solutions. Listen to other opinions, listen to your best friend, listen to your classmates. What do they think about this problem? Suspend judgment and tolerate ambiguity. Don't take a quick judgment regarding the problem and try to cover the whole details on the problem. Admits a lack of information or understanding when necessary. Look for the facts, look for the real information. Don't make it emotional judgment regarding your problem. Is open-minded and seeks opposing view. Ask pertinent question and assess statements and arguments. So try to argue the available options to look for the best one. So the characteristics here, we have to use reasoning. What is using reasoning? We have inductive reasoning and we have deductive reasoning, two types of reasoning, trying to find a reason. So inductive reasoning is actually trying to generalize from specific concepts to broad principles. So you make it more general. For example, you're generalizing an experience, you having a bad experience, and you apply the same experience to any future experience, because you already had a bad experience before, either with, for example, you buy Huawei phone mobile and you had bad experience with it. It's broken from the first week. Then in the future you decide never to buy Huawei mobile again because you already had a bad experience before. So you are actually making inductive reasoning. You make generalizing about the bad product of, for example, Huawei mobile, because you already had a bad experience before. So having a bad experience with one math class, for example, you don't like the teacher, you don't like the subject, so you make a generalize in the future, you will never like the math class or the teacher in the future. You might reason inductively that all math classes are bad. Inductive reasoning can contain some error, because it's not necessarily that all Huawei mobile will be broken from the first week. It is not general that all the math class will be difficult to understand, or all the classes provided by this teacher, you will never like it. So such as a coming to conclusion too quickly, because you already decide something earlier and you apply it in the future for the same experience. In deductive reasoning, you are drawing conclusion based on going from the general to the specific. So it seems the opposite way of inductive reasoning. For example, all men are mortal, Sami is a man, therefore Sami is mortal. Don't assume that the main premise is always true. So it's not, it needs some supporting facts to become true, the deductive reasoning. Common errors in judgment. Why we, or what is the common errors we can make it in judgment? Some common errors in judgment that interfere with effective critical thinking is stereotypes. What is stereotypes? Stereotypes, judgment held by a person or group about members of another group. So, for example, you ask me about the course of TU170. I'm your friend, and I come and tell you it is very difficult. All the students in the class, they didn't like it. So I'm giving you my opinion, and you take my opinion as a true, because I told you this. It's a stereotype. So it's become something true from the opinions of someone. It's a judgment. All or nothing thinking, seeing events or people in black or white. A snap judgment, decisions made before gathering all necessary information. So you take a quick decisions without referring to the facts available. For example, you have seen some money with your brother, and you decide immediately he has taken it from your wallet. It's a quick decision. Projection, to attribute to others some of your traits to justify your faulty judgment or actions. Sweeping generalization, so you apply one experience to a whole group or issue. This is a common problem also. Halo effect, you are actually labeling a person good or bad based on something they did it, some action they did it, either good or bad. So you already decide about the whole personality of this person based on one action. Negative labeling is focusing on and identifying with shortcoming. For example, you went to a new shop and the employee there, he didn't help you, so you already label the shop with the employee there with X, for example. This is some strategies to unlock your mind natural creativities, to think out of the box. Expect to be creative. Challenge the rules. Try new approach. Use games, puzzles, and humors. It will help you to think unnormal way. It will help your mind to find alternatives. Brainstorm. Be free to express ideas to your study group. Be flexible, positive, grateful. Try to collect some ideas. Take a relax. Trust yourself. Support, acknowledgement, and reward creativity. Allow failure. It is not necessarily to pass from the first or second or third time. It's okay to have some failure. It will become the failure before the succeed. Be disciplined and persistent. Be hard worker. For sure, it will become difficult from the first time, but later it will become easier. Now, math and science applications. Problem-solving strategies for math and science include, if we have some formulas, we need to solve it in math. We have some questions. We have some unknown. We have some known variables. We have some unknown variables. So there is something you need to solve it by using numbers with the operations. How can you do it? How can this critical thinking skills help you? First, make a model or diagram. It helps in organizing and visualizing the problem. There is some charts help you to draw the steps of solving the problem. Draw, illustrate, and make tables, charts, or lists. Because it will help you to organize and therefore looks for the pattern. It will help you to know the flow, the steps that need to repeat itself, the flow of the information which is available to you as known information and data, which is the hidden information. You need to discover it and find their values. Look for patterns and connection. Pattern is actually regular systematic repetition that help you in prediction. Act out the problem. Try now to start solving the problem. Physical act out the problem. Sometimes it will help you to find the solution. Simplify, solve related, easier cases. Translate words into equation. Write the word in equation that will model the solution for your problem. Estimate, make a reasonable guess, check the guess and revise, correct yourself. So, for example, if Sami is older than Sarah, he is 9 years old, but younger than Ali, who is 11 years old, then for sure Sami will become around 10 years old. Summarize in a group. Working in a group can help you learn. Take a quick break. It will help you to change your mind and refresh your mind. Overcome math and science anxiety. If you have some anxiety, do your prepare work. Prepare yourself. Keep up and review often. Before the exam, try to revise the information, not to learn it. Math and science, difficult to learn at the night of exam. Discipline yourself, concentrate on your task, commit to your study. Study in a group, choose supportive environment, find your classmates that help you to pass, that support you in the difficult parts of the study. Have a positive attitude, focus on positive feeling. Dispute the myth, fears are caused by myth. If you tell yourself I will fail in the exam, then it's probably you will fail in the exam. But always encourage yourself and ask for help, your tutor, your group, if you need some help. Overcoming obstacles, building better habits. It's actually all regard building better habits. How you could enforce yourself to adapt in new habits. Use the power of habits to make creativity routine behavior. Start by reflecting on what triggers your creativity. What makes you want to change yourself? Want to adapt the new habits, the one you think it will be help you to make you better critical thinking. It will help you to become a better learner. Example, if you feel to be more creative when you go for an early jog, then you should make jogging as your trigger, the things that make you feel inspired to do your work. Early jogging outdoor is your routine. Then you have to adapt the routine in changing or adapting the new behavior. Feeling relaxed is your reward. When you're done your jogging, then you will feel relaxed and this will be your reward. So first, identify a trigger, then adapt the behavior, make it a routine, then you will get the reward at the end. In chapter 6, we will talk about excel at taking tests. So we will describe some strategies for taking tests and identify ways to overcome test anxiety and obstacles. If you want to take tests as part of a school, then it's become as a reviewing for your performance in the course. And it's a regular task. We usually do it in studying. Just give me 1 second. Welcome back. In this chapter, we will explore some strategies of how we could make tests and take tests that allow us to take or to have good marks. We will concentrate on the test taking strategies that you can follow to get good grades before and during and after the exam. Before the test, you should always start early in day one. Attend the class, don't miss the class. If there is some reason why you miss a class, then you have to make it yourself and you have to recover what you have missed. Set up review schedule from the first day, how often you need to review the course and after which amount of information. No expectation. Large part of fares come from unknown after attending first class. Usually the first class will become difficult as it's a new subject to you, but later you will become familiar with the different syllables, you will become familiar with the test formats and the amount of time available to do the test. Ask questions in class. If any point is unclear to you, you could ask for clarification during, at the end, or at the end of the class. Keep up daily reading. You should not only depend on the materials at the time of the class, but it will help you more if you revise the materials when we finish the class. Try to do daily reading, setting up schedule will help. Review immediately because it will help you to remember the ideas that has been discussed in the class. 5 to 10 minutes is often enough for reviewing when the class finished. Review weekly. Spend about an hour weekly to review subject material. So if you have one class or 3 classes every week, then you have to revise the class every time you finish it. And at the end of the week, you have to revise the 3 classes together. Do a final review, do a major review a week or before a test. Practice text question. Especially if you have some practical questions, you have to use it. You have to try to solve it by using paper and pen. It will help you to enforce the information in the mind, and also it will help you to know what is your common mistakes and how you could improve it. Use memory techniques, remember the key terms, remember the new ideas, create a sample test. Predict questions, group work can be helpful. Summarize the information, try to take notes, write key concepts on note cards. Use your study teams. If you have some classmates, share with them the probability question and discuss answers. Use all available resources to you to study, like classes, learning centers. Assemble what you will need, like pen, calculator, notepads, laptops. Use technologies like smartphones, tablets, laptops. During the test, in the exam, we have different types of questions. We could have multiple choice, true or false, matching essay, and fill in the blank. So there is a lot of strategies based on the type of the question. You could read and listen to all instructions. So during the exam, before you start solving the exam, you should read and listen to all the instructions. You should write down the information. You could scan the entire test, how many questions you have, how many time located for each questions, what type of the questions, what is the easiest question to start with. So you should go from easy to difficult. You should read each questions carefully. Is it comparing? Is it discussing? Sorry. So in some types of questions, you may eliminate some choices. Revise your answers before submitting the test. You need to follow these strategies after the test when you receive the grade. Analyze and assess, confirm your grades. Is this the grade you deserve? Is there a question that hasn't been marked? Determine common types of mistake. What make you lose mark? Learn what to do different next time. You could revise with your instructor, revise the test with your study teams or classmates. How you could overcome obstacles. You could make better test habits. So we will follow this diagram of creating new habits. Find your trigger, make it a routine behavior in studying, then find your reward. So a peak performer learns to manage anxiety and knows that being prepared is the route to test-taking success. If you prepare yourself well, then you will not have anxiety in the exam. Consider the case when you think about upcoming test. Then find your trigger, the emotions that make this anxiety disappear. Make a new routine, including preparing for the quiz. Then give yourself, like, this will be my good grade. There is no excuse for cheating because it's hurt. Cheating is hurt either yourself, either your teacher, either the someone you cheat with. So it violates your integrity, it erodes confidence, it creates academic problems, it's increased stress and brings high risk. So you might heard plagiarisms terms before, or maybe this is the first time. Plagiarism is actually cheating by taking someone else's work and saying it's yours without referring to the source of the information. It can be of different forms. It can be copying some text from the web and pasting, or copying some of your friends' or classmates' work. It can be copying word for word without using the quotation and not citing the source, not saying what is your reference. Paraphrasing by replacing a few words or rearranging sentence and not citing the source. You might change the words a little bit, but you use it the same structures, the same word, the same meaning in the in your work without referring to the source. You didn't mention the source. How to avoid plagiarisms? First, when quoting word for word, quoting means you have copied some part of the text for presenting the words in your work. To avoid it, then you have to use the quotation mark. You have to use this quotation mark between the copied text. Then you have to mention the reference, like the author's name, initial date of publication, title of work, name and location of publisher, page numbers of the material you are borrowing. So, for example, you could say between the words, definition of plagiarisms is when you use someone else's ideas in your writing without acknowledging your source. Then you could say the source of this information, like Arab Open University's TU170 Meeting 3, slides number 24, available on the link. Then you provide the link. If you already mentioned on the citation, failure to provide citation will be interpreted as plagiarism, even if you mention it in bibliography. So if you refer the reference in your reference, you said from where you got the information in this paper in your reference, but you didn't mention the part you take it out of the resource, then it's also considered plagiarism. So be careful with plagiarisms. One way to avoid plagiarisms is actually paraphrasing, to change the word. So how we could make paraphrasing good? Paraphrasing should not include the words of the original text nor follow the same sentence structure. So change it. Change the structure of the sentence. Understand the meaning of the sentence, then rearrange it in your own word. Produce the idea in your own word. Use your own statement without putting them in a quote. So in this way, you don't need to put the quotation. Paraphrase information should be accompanied by citation in the text after the paraphrase section. So also you could put the citation text, and also you need to include it in your reference. How we could cite a website? If we use some information from a website, how we could include the citation information. So in this way, you could put the name of the website first, then you could comma, then the year published. For example, you could say Arab Open University. This is the name of the website, comma, year published, for example, 2021, dot, then page title. You could refer to page title, for example, IT college. dot. You have to put this square bracket online, then available at URL access. Then you paste the URL. This is an example of how to cite a website. Penalties of plagiarisms. What if you failed to cite the reference in your own work, or if you use some information and you failed to cite it? You're actually committing plagiarism, which is an act of theft of intellectual properties. So anyone can call you in a court, or your academic institution might make you fail the work that have some plagiarisms. There is some penalties, severe penalties to students whose work are plagiarized. For example, in Arab Open Universities, some plagiarized work equal to 0. Can you imagine this? So you copied some students' work either from this term or from someone from the previous term, and just you put your name there and your work worth 0. If you need some more information about how to create bibliographies or citation or reference using Word, then you could refer to this link. It will help you to create some reference style in your work. So this is all about today. We finished the meeting. It is very short and interesting, I think, for you. Any question?
دكتورة
Yes.
لو سمحتي توي دخلت الميتينج كان عندي انقطاع في الميتينج.
مو مشكلة المحاضرة مسجلة إن شاء الله وبرسلها لكم.
لا يعني ما أخذتي حضور وكذا؟
الحضور باخذه من اللستة هنا عندي مالت الاتندنس، بسوي لها داونلود وبتنزل عندي كامل الحاضرين. فأنت طالما موجودة خلاص يعني ما أخذ حضور بالاسم أنا.
تمام يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك يا رب. أي سؤال؟
سؤال يا دكتورة.
أيوة.
الحين لما أغير من جهاز الحضور يعني الفرق يعني ولا عادي من جهاز لجهاز؟
لما تغير الحضور من جهاز لجهاز ولا عادي الجهاز نفسه، يعني قصدك كذا؟ يعني أنت دخلت من
يعني
جهاز
مثلا
وبعدين غيرت
الجوال.
إيه؟
أيوة عادي؟
عادي ما في مشاكل على الحضور.
طيب شكرا.
حياك. طيب فهمتوا المحاضرة مالت اليوم ولا ما فهمتوا؟
في بعض الجزئيات ما فهمت، بس مع المذاكرة راح توضح لنا أكثر
إن شاء الله. طبعا أنا أفتكر إنه في طلاب طلبوا ونشرح شيء بالعربي، بس الإكزام راح يكون بالإنجليزي. يعني يفضل إن أنتوا تعودوا أنفسكم على تستوعبوا لما تقرأوا وتسمعوا الإنجليزي، تستوعب المعنى أفضل من إنه يكون بالعربي. فأنا أشجعكم إن أنتوا تحاولوا تقرأوا وتفهموا بالإنجليزي. إذا في نقطة ما عرفتوا إيش المقصود فيها ممكن نوضحها.
مساء الخير دكتورة.
مساء النور.
عندي سؤال بس بسيط، يمكن يتكرر كثير بس عشان في لخبطة شوي في الجروب، فقلت أسألك بنفسك بما إنك موجود في المحاضرة. anyway الاختبار حيكون لين 9 ولا 1 الظهر؟
الاختبار بيكون إن شاء الله متوفر من الساعة 12 الظهر لين الساعة 9 بالليل.
لكل الشعب؟
شعبتكم أنتم، ما أدري بالنسبة للشعب الثانية نفس الوقت ولا لا، ما أدري. يعني أتوقع كل الشعب، أتوقع لكل الشعب. نعم.
تمام شكرا، يعطيك العافية دكتور.
الله يعافيك.
دكتورة
نعم.
عندي سؤال معلش.
أيوة تفضلي. تعالى قطع معاها. any question؟
teacher عندي سؤال.
yes تفضلي.
الاختبار أي chapter معنا؟
meeting 2 الكويز الثاني إن شاء الله بيغطي meeting 2. المرة الماضية أنتوا اختبرتوا
كامل ولا chapter 2 4؟
meeting 2 كامل. meeting 2 بيغطي chapter 3 و 4 صح؟
أيوة صح.
فبيغطي الشابترين chapter 3 و 4.
تمام شكرا.
حياك.
دكتورة ما في مشكلة إذا كان الواحد يعني عنده شوية صعاب في المادة يعني صح؟
طبيعي بتلاقي صعوبة في المادة إذا هذه يعني أنا أشوفها المادة غالبيتها نظري، فقدرات الناس بتختلف. في ناس تحب تفهم، في ناس تحب تحفظ، في ناس تحب تطبق عملي. يعني ما حد يعني قليل اللي بيحبوا كله على بعضه، فطبيعي جدا.
لأنه بالسكندري سكول كنا نتعلم كل هذه المادة كنا نتعلمها بالعربي ونحفظها بالعربي، فالآن يوم دخلت الجامعة كانت بالإنجليزي، ففي منها سهل وفي منها شوية صعب.
طبعا الجامعة انتوا المادة نفسها TU170 هي مادة بيدرسوها أكثر من قسم، يعني الاي تي والادمنستريتور بزنس ادمنستريتور، ففي أكثر من قسم بيدرسوها. وهذه ميزة التعلم الجامعي، إن أنت بتتعلمي شيء مختلف عن الهاي سكول. بتواجهك تحديات طبعا، بس بتحسي بمتعة إذا أنت تجاوزتيها بنجاح إن شاء الله. فلا تستصعبوا المواضيع، اخذوها كتحدي وتحدوا أنفسكم إن أنتوا تعدوا عليها. لازم تتعبوا على روحكم. بالتوفيق. في هنا أشوف الكويز من وين نذاكر. افتحي يا في ميتينج 2 ذاكري. في واجب أو شيء؟ يس، في تكلمنا عن الواجب إن شاء الله. في عندكم 2 أونلاين أكتيفيتيز تكلمت عنهم في المحاضرة الماضية، والتفاصيل حقتهم ممكن ترجعوا إلى يا إما الريكوردد في الميتينج 2، أو ممكن ترجعوا إلى الويب سايت حق LMS بتلاقوا فيها التفاصيل كذلك. في أحد عنده سؤال؟ أوكي. معناها إحنا خلصنا اليوم. شكرا for attending the class. Thank you for attending the class and have a nice day. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Miss.
You're welcome.
دكتورة